With the Kalos Tour slowly approaching in Pokemon GO, it's time to start getting ready for this amazing event. For those of you who have never played a Pokemon GO Tour or GO Fest before, you're going to have an entire weekend to play, which means 16 hours of insane spawns, raids, and bonuses. And if you decide to purchase the event ticket and or the GO Pass, you're also going to get additional bonuses. I've already analyzed the event ticket in this video right here, and the GO Pass in this video right here. You can find both videos linked in the description down below. Now with that being said, let's focus on everything you can start doing now to get yourself ready for this upcoming event. So first of all, what premium items do you need for this event? We'll start off with incense. So we're going to have special unknown incense spawns that spell out Kalos on both days. Incense are going to last for 1 hour, which means you'll want to have a total of 8 to use per day to maximize your chances of getting a shiny unknown. You're also going to need to be walking in order to get a new spawn every minute from your incense. Now there are 2 strategies you can go about when it comes down to using your incense during this event. If you plan on playing all 8 hours with minimal breaks, just drop all of them at the start of the event. That said though, for most players, I'd recommend dropping your incense in batches of 1 to 2. This way you can avoid wasting them during your breaks and focus on the grind once you actually decide to use them and play a bit harder. When it comes down to premium items, incense are probably the most inexpensive item you can actually purchase that gets you the most value, so definitely make sure to go into this event with 16 on hand at the very least if you really want to maximize on the shiny unknown. Next up, let's talk about lure modules. So there was no mention of lure modules lasting longer during this event, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to drop some lures at popular grind spots throughout the day. This is going to result in more Pokemon spawning for everyone, and you can make some progress towards your Platinum Picnicker medal. And if you're going for level 80, you definitely got to work on those Platinums. Next up, let's talk about Lucky Eggs. So Tier 2 of the GO Pass for the Kalos Tour is going to offer 2 times catch experience, and Tier 3 is going to offer 3 times catch experience. This is an amazing bonus if you want to focus on excellent throws during the event for some sweet experience gains. If you have the GO Pass Deluxe, you're also going to get more experience from raid battles and hatching eggs. So depending on your playstyle, you might want to keep a few of these Lucky Eggs ready to go on both days of the event to really maximize on the experience offered. Now we are going to talk about star pieces here in just a second. There's one strategy that I think is worth using the star pieces on. Otherwise, there aren't going to be any significant Stardust bonuses, so we'll just talk about this right now. And that goes alongside the incubators / super incubators. So during this event, we're going to have 1 half hatch distance, and if you have the GO Pass Deluxe, you're also going to get 2 times hatch Stardust and 2 times hatch experience if you get to the respective tier. Now this event is also going to have special event themed 2 km, 5 km, and 10 km eggs, and the 10 km eggs are going to contain the various regional forms available during this event. But there was no mention of boosted shiny rates applying to these eggs specifically, so just keep that in mind. But if you want to maximize on the Stardust gains, 10 km eggs do award a lot of Stardust, and if you have the GO Pass Deluxe, that bonus of 2 times hatch Stardust is really going to come in handy here. So stockpile as many 10 km eggs as possible, incubate them all at the same time, and then drop a star piece right before they hatch. I mean, this is going to be a great way to really just take advantage of the Stardust gains. Even if you don't end up getting a shiny regional, you'll definitely be able to farm a ton of Stardust from doing this. Following that, let's talk about the premium raid passes or the green passes. If you've made it to Tier 3 of the GO Pass, first of all, you're going to get 2 free orange passes to use every single day, which is going to be quite helpful. And as of right now, we only have Yveltal and Xerneas featured during the weekend, but during the lead-up event throughout the week, we're going to have tons of amazing legendary Pokemon available. This includes Primal Groudon and Kyogre on Wednesday, Origin Palkia and Dialga on Thursday, and Black and White Kyurem on Friday. So when it comes down to it, hopefully you guys do have a lot of green passes saved up. In terms of priority, you want to at least get enough energy for 1 Primal Groudon and 1 Primal Kyogre. That's going to be about 5 raids each at minimum, given that the energy rate is about 80 to 120, so on average you should be able to get them after about 5. And then Origin Palkia and Origin Dialga, try to just get at least 1 with their Adventure Effect moveset. That's going to be really, really important. You can try to get some good IV spreads later through trades if you get extras. And then for Black and White Kyurem, it's going to be 1,000 energy per fusion, which is pretty expensive. So most of your green passes, if you weren't able to get, the respective energy during the fusion raid day in January, should go towards getting the remainder of energy that you actually need to at least get 1 of each of these fusion forms. And if you have extra raid passes, definitely make sure to use it on White Kyurem to get even more White Kyurem, because that is the best ice type attacker in the game. It's miles above everything else. And then of course over the weekend you also have Yveltal and Xerneas, which I don't think are as big of a priority as the other Pokemon, so if you only have a limited amount of green passes to use, definitely make sure to use them on the Pokemon I just mentioned, and the remainder can be used on Yveltal and Xerneas just to farm some more candy and then potentially actually get their shiny forms. That being said though, if you have a ton of green passes saved up, honestly just do as many of these as you possibly can, especially Groudon and Kyogre. Everyone always asks for those from trades, so it's a great Pokemon to really have with their legacy movesets. Same thing with Origin Palkia and Dialga. Even though there's only a chance to get them with their Adventure Effect legacy movesets, people always ask for those too. Kyurem is another really good one. The shiny Kyurem is like highly desirable, so definitely try to get extras of those if you can. Like I mentioned, do as many white Kyurem raids as you can. You only need to get enough energy for one black Kyurem fusion. Everything else should go towards white Kyurem. And then over the weekend, Yveltal and Xerneas will both have access to their legacy moveset, so again, there's like tons of really good raid bosses to take advantage of during the lead-up event and then over the weekend. Now, of course, we also do have unlimited remote raid passes over the weekend, and then you can use up to 30 every single day during the lead-up event. The remote raid passes are going to be great for players who have responsibilities either throughout the week or over the weekend. That said, though, they are significantly more expensive than the green in-person passes, but they're far more convenient. And you can use apps like PokeGenie to find quick raid lobbies, and overall during major events like this, it is much easier to join raids remotely opposed to hosting them. So if you don't have that many PokeCoins, I think the most important thing to pay attention to are going to be the incense, and then if you have a bit extra PokeCoins, definitely try to use those towards the raid passes, maybe see if there's any like bundles in the shop. Sometimes there are some good deals. And again, if you have even more PokeCoins saved up, even more raid passes would really benefit you during this event, but otherwise everything else you can kind of skip. You don't really need to use lucky eggs and stuff like that. Star pieces are all optional, and you'll still get a lot of really good gains even without them, but I think when it comes down to it, the incense are always super important for these major events when we have these special unknown spawns. And then of course the raid passes really do go a long way just because these Pokemon are also going to get access to many of their legacy movesets. Next up, let's go over what free items you want to have for this event. First of all, let's talk about pineapple berries. So depending on your playstyle, you may want more or less of these. After playing through enough events, I've realized that I'm usually more focused on quick catching, and that also means not using berries to save time. The only time that I really use pineapple berries is to get candy on really rare Pokemon, but I'm also spending Pokestops throughout the day, and usually I end up with more pineapple berries than I even started the event with, which is why I recommend 25 to go into the event. For an event with 16 hours of spawns, you're most likely going to get enough candy from just quick catching everything, but there are a few Pokemon that you're probably not going to run into too often that you should pineapple berry. Next up, when it comes down to Nana berries, I also recommend about 25, maybe a little bit less of these if you have the Black Kyurem Adventure Effect, which we will talk about later. Basically what Nana berries do is they make the Pokemon stop attacking you if they're being feisty, so they won't move around, they will not attack you. It's really easy to actually get your excellent throws if you're using Nana berries, or like I mentioned, the Black Kyurem Adventure Effect, but we're going to talk about that later. Following that, we have Golden Raspberries. So these give you the best catch rate in the game combined with excellent curveball throws. Now keeping these on hand for Pokemon with low catch rates can be very helpful, and if you're going to be raiding throughout the day, you're also going to continue to restock these. Tier 2 and Tier 3 of the Go Pass for this event is also going to offer an increased catch rate for Pokemon caught specifically from raids with Premier Balls. So you might not need as many of these compared to previous events, so it's definitely something to keep in mind as you're going into this one. I honestly have a ton of Golden Raspberries thanks to the Tier 3 bonus from the Go Pass the last 2 months, which was increased raid rewards, and I don't really do raids that often, but even just doing my free raids, I stockpiled a ton of Golden Raspberries. I have like 500 in my bag right now, so I have more than enough for this event, and given that we're going to have the increased catch rate, there is actually a berry that I'm going to recommend over the Golden Raspberry. Now, the most important berry for this event is going to be the Silver Pineapple Berry. These should be specifically saved for legendary Pokemon you want to farm candy on. These have a very close catch rate to Golden Raspberries. Golden Raspberries have a 2.5 times catch rate, and Silver Pineapple Berries have a 1.8 times catch rate. And they're also going to have an increased candy rate compared to regular pineapple berries. I don't actually have that many silver pineapple berries saved up. I have used a lot of them, but if you guys do have a lot of silver pineapple berries, this event is going to be the time to really cash in on them. Next up, let's go over potions and revives. So there are 2 different paths you can take with this. Basically, you can get away with much less if you're going to raid in big groups, but if you're going to be in a smaller group, you're definitely going to want to have more of these, especially if you don't have a bunch of your counters powered up. Now, I do want to remind you, there's going to be no limit on remote raid passes over this weekend, so really take advantage and invite players, because this is going to increase your numbers, which means using less potions and less revives, and that means you can also kind of keep more items in your item bag for other things, like Pokeballs or berries or anything like that. Now, if you are having trouble getting potions and revives before this event, specifically go and spin gym stops, not Pokestops, gym stops. especially the ones that you've gotten gold gym badges at, because you're going to get more items, and typically you get more healing items from spending gym stops over regular Pokestops. Now for the remainder of your bag, let's talk about the Pokeballs, Ultra Balls, and Great Balls, and yes, I said it in that order for a reason. So if you have an auto catcher, you want to have as many Pokeballs as possible, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of raids. You want to have your auto catcher running while you're doing those raid battles. Now with that being said, if you're going to be freehanding your throws, you want to have as many Ultra Balls as possible, but it does take time to actually build them up. So start restocking at Pokestops right now before this event to really get as many as possible. When it comes down to the ideal goal for how many Ultra Balls you want to have going into this event, I would say 1,000 is ideal. More if you can. Some people actually have like 2,000, 3,000 because their item bag is massive in game. Some people don't even have enough item bag storage to have 1,000 Ultra Balls. So do the best that you can, honestly, with the given space that you do have. As someone who's been playing these events for a really long time, I can tell you right now that is going to be the goal though, just to have as many as you possibly can, and then you can really go through and catch as many Pokemon throughout the event. Otherwise, if you have to go and restock throughout the day, that's going to be kind of frustrating because that means you're going to lose out on potential catch time, which means less chances at hundos and shinies. So that pretty much covers all the items that you want to have, both premium and free. Next up, let's go over some other tips and tricks you guys can start doing before this event. So when it comes down to items, if you are struggling to even go out there and get them, open gifts every single day. You do have a pretty high gift limit right now, and then tier 1 of the Go Pass for February does give you an increased amount of gifts you can open every single day, so this is the best way to passively collect Pokeballs and berries if you aren't able to go out and spend Pokestops before the event. I would highly recommend putting aside some time though to go out and restock a few days before the event, because you do want to have as many Pokeballs as possible going into this. Even with all the prep that I personally do and the item bag space that I have, I usually have to reserve some time after the first day to restock my bag for day 2. And for those of you that have more bag space, you probably don't need to worry about this as much. More power to you. For those of you with less bag space, this is definitely something you really gotta do after day 1. Next up, let's go over your Pokemon storage for an event like this. So I'd recommend a minimum of 200 open spots, and ideally 1,000 plus if you can manage it. You really don't want to spend a bunch of time during the event transferring Pokemon, and after playing multiple major events, I can confidently say that this number is what you do want to aim for. If you're struggling to make space, I do have a full storage management guide video that I'd strongly recommend checking out. It has helped so many players over the years. It is a pretty long video, but I guarantee it'll 100% improve your gameplay in the long run. Now, there's still actually a few weeks before this event actually starts, so it is not too late to go out and stack yourself in a few gyms for some extra PokeCoins leading up to this event. I've been pretty proactive about this for the last couple of months and have accumulated a decent amount of coins, so I'm definitely good to go in whatever I actually need. My Pokemon storage is pretty good right now, same with my item bag, and then I don't really need raid passes because I have a bunch of green ones that I've been saving up. So for me personally, I don't need to actually spend these coins on anything, but for you guys out there, extra Pokemon storage or extra item bag space can make a big difference during this event, or even just a few extra raid passes could maybe get you that shiny or even that hundo. That being said though, for those of you out there who aren't free to play, or maybe you're mostly free to play, I would also recommend putting aside some money from your paycheck to get some PokeCoins for this event. It is a much better strategy than actually taking the time to do the gym coins. Like, I'm mostly free to play and I like to play the game this way, which is why I do gym coins only and I don't spend money on PokeCoins personally, but that doesn't mean that has to be you. Like 16 hours of potential grind time gets pretty crazy, and before you know it, you're gonna have to go through and clear out your Pokemon storage, and you might even run out of Pokeballs. This can really kill your momentum during a big event like this, and you really don't want that happening. Now, if you can accomplish this free to play, even better, but seriously, don't be afraid to spend some money to make your life easier and less chaotic during a big event like this. Trust me, you will thank yourself later. Next up, let's talk about the fast catch trick. So if you still haven't mastered this, you do want to practice this before this event to really improve your catching speeds and efficiency. Normally it takes about 18 seconds to catch a Pokemon going through the full animation, but with the fast catch trick, you can do it in roughly 5 seconds. This is how people get so many Pokemon caught during these major events like this, or even just during community days. So if you're a new/returning player coming back to the game and you don't know how to do this, check out this video on screen right now. It's going to go over how to actually do it both for right-handed and left-handed throwers. Next up, let's go over the adventure effects you want to have active during this event if you do have them available. So there's going to be 2 main adventure effects I would personally recommend using. The first one is going to be Palkia Origin for Spatial Rend. Essentially what this adventure effect does is that it's going to increase the radius of the spawns around you, and in simple terms, more more spawns equals more shiny chances and more chances at hundos. If you have rare candy you aren't really sure what to do with, I'd strongly encourage dumping it into Palkia Origin form. Now the other adventure effect I'd recommend using is going to be Black Kyrium's Free Shock. This is going to increase your catch rate by 1.25 times and act as a permanent Nana Berry for the next 10 minutes. So this means the Pokemon will not attack you or move around, and it's extremely useful when it comes down to excellent throws. Now for those of you that remember, we do have the 3x catch experience from Tier 3 of the Go Pass during this event, so combined together with Black Kyrium's Free Shock adventure effect, this is going to help you get excellent throws a lot more consistently, which means a ton of experience for you. Now we do also have White Kyrium's adventure effect to Ice Burn, and this is actually going to give you an even better catch rate on your Pokemon. It's going to be 1.5 times, but the throwing effect really isn't that good. I don't particularly like using it, it's actually kind of annoying, but this does apply to the auto catcher. So if you are focused on raid battles and you want to improve your catch rate from your auto catcher while it's catching Pokemon in the background while you're doing those raid battles, having this adventure effect active could prove useful. But if you're going to be focused on throwing, once again, you should go with the Black Kyrium adventure effect instead. Next up, I want to quickly go over some things you might want to have in your bag over the weekend. So again, this is going to be 8 hours every single day. It is a very, very long day of playtime. I'd recommend bringing some snacks in your bag to keep yourself energized. Definitely make sure to have some water so you can stay hydrated. Apply sunscreen if you can, if it's going to be applicable to the weather. Honestly, sunscreen in general is just good to apply, so face, body, chapstick, stuff like that. Having an external battery, possibly even 2 external batteries, is really useful. I always have 2 ready to go for this weekend. Anchor is a brand that I personally like to use. Extra charging cables, lightning cables, and USB-C cables for your friends. Hopefully, you do have the adapter for the lightning cables. I know a lot of people do use USB-C now. You'll definitely want to have an auto catcher if possible, although the official Go Plus Plus is pretty expensive now because for some reason they decided to stop making them, so look for a secondhand one online or maybe even just go with a third-party option. And then of course you want to have extra auto catcher batteries if applicable. For the one that I use, it does require AAA batteries, so I always have an extra set in my bag. So those are going to be some essentials I think are important to have in your bag, but now let's go over some other things you guys can do before day 1 of this event. So first of all, make plans with your friends, decide who you're going to play with, where you're going to be playing, and what you're going to be doing. If you don't have a community, I would strongly recommend checking out Campfire for any local meetups. It is the official companion app for Pokemon Go, and in my opinion, it is absolutely worth making the drive in order to play with others during a big event like this. It's going to make your raid battles go so much smoother. Now, I do also recommend planning to get at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep, if not more, because you're going to be grinding a lot over the course of this weekend, and that includes the next day as well. Getting enough sleep before the first day, in my opinion, is even more important because you're probably not going to get as much sleep before day 2. Now, when it comes down to your food options throughout the day, because it's going to be like an 8-hour day, there's 2 different paths you can take, right? You can prepare like a lunchbox with food and snacks, bring a cooler with some water bottles. That is the more cost-effective approach opposed to eating out. But if you do want to go out somewhere with your friends, then I would recommend mapping out which restaurants actually have a few Pokestops around them. This way, while you're eating, you can drop some lure modules and keep passively grinding. So the grind continues even while you're on a break. Now, the most important reminder before day 1 and also day 2 is going to be to set your alarms/reminders. To charge your devices, pack your bag, do whatever you have to do to get yourself ready the night before, because you do not want to wake up and figure out everything. I mean, seriously, have a checklist if that helps you for reminders of things to pack in your bag, or just set alarm the night before to make sure that you have everything ready to go. Make sure to charge your devices like your auto catcher and your external batteries. If you forget to charge your external battery, that is going to really mess you up over the weekend. So seriously, set your alarms ahead of time, try to get everything charged way in advance, and you should be good to go. Otherwise, it can really mess up your weekend. That pretty much covers all of your preparation before day 1, but what about day 2? So after playing roughly 8 hours of the event, you now need to start getting ready for day 2, which is going to be an even crazier day of grinding. The first thing that you have to do after you're done grinding is to clean out your Pokemon storage. Figure out what you want to keep if you got good IV spreads, transfer everything else not relevant, keep some stuff for trades, and ideally by the end of it, if you followed my method for organization through my storage management guide video, you should have 0 untagged Pokemon. Now, if you have a friend that is willing to mirror trade some of these Pokemon that you kept for trades, it's going to be a great way to actually get rid of any Pokemon you plan on rerolling for better IVs. You can trade up to 100 Pokemon per day, and if you include the 6 special trades you're going to be getting, that's going to leave you with 94 more trades additionally from those specials. And every trade you're going to do, thanks to the bonus of this event, is going to cost 50% less Stardust. So really take advantage of those new Pokedex entries for your special trades. You can do your trades over dinner or something like that. Try to multitask them, that way you don't spend too much extra time and you can go to bed as as soon as possible before day 2, but I do recommend doing your 100 trades before the start of day 2. That extra Pokemon storage really does help out. Now finally, the last thing I want to recommend doing is to restock your Pokeballs. Like, hopefully throughout the day you were spending enough Pokestops along the way and you won't have to restock your bag too much, but if you depleted your Pokeball supply because you were playing really hardcore, you're going to need to spend at least 1 to 2 hours after the event restocking. It is extremely important, guys. Do not go into day 2 without doing a restock of your item bag for Pokeballs. It is so important. You don't want to do that in the middle of the event on day 2. You're going to lose a lot of grind time. Otherwise, that pretty much covers everything I feel like you guys need to know to get yourself ready for this event, though. If you have any more tips you would like to add, let me know in the comment section down below. And otherwise, if you do need help managing your Pokemon storage, then check out this video next.